All right, at this time, we will call to order the City of Kenai Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for March 11th, 2020. Will you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item A2, roll call, please.
Commissioner Twait,
Here.
Commissioner Springer,
Here.
Commissioner Greenberg,
Here.
Commissioner Askin.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Item A3, agenda approval. Wishes of the commission. Commissioner Askin.
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
And a second?
I would second that.
Second. Any objection? Seeing none, the agenda is approved. Item A4, consent agenda. Commissioner Greenberg.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as written.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any objection? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved. Item C, scheduled public comment. We have none. Item D, unscheduled public comment. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak to an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move on to items E, consideration of plats, F, public hearings, G, unfinished business. We have none. Takes us to item H1, new business. And that is an application for a lease of city-owned land within the airport reserve described as Lot 5A, Block 1, FBO Subdivision 2018 replat, and located at 413 North Willow Street. The application was submitted by Schilling Alaska LLC. Staff report.
Thank you, Chair Twait. On page 10 of the packet, there's a map showing aerial imagery of the parcel, and then page 11 has the start of my staff report. So the city has received a lease application from Schilling Rentals LLC. This is for Lot 5A, Block 1 in the FBO subdivision. The commissioners might remember seeing this parcel. Hillcorp had submitted a lease application a year or two ago. The lease application was approved, but it was never finalized by Hillcorp. This Lot 5A, it used to be 2 lots, and Hillcorp, as part of their application, they had gone through and removed the lot line. So this is it's a prime lot. It's a larger size lot that has access to the taxiway, and it's already partially cleared. The application is requesting a term of 45 years because there's an investment of approximately $1.2 million. That term requested meets the term table in Kenai Municipal Code. The city also posted notice of the lease application. We have not received a competing lease application for the parcel. I'll note there are, I think, 4 days left where someone could submit a competing application. This is pursuant to code that requires us to advertise when we have a new lease application, and someone could submit a competing lease application, but anyway, that time period will have passed before this is moved on to City Council. So the applicant would use this parcel to build a hangar for rotor and fixed-wing aircraft with crew quarters. And so after construction of the hangar is completed, it's expected that Guardian Flight would operate on the premises. You may have, it's been in the news, Guardian has already started talking about moving to Kenai, but they, again, we're still going through our normal lease application approval. Guardian Flight provides emergency medical flights, and this would be it would be a benefit to the city to have that. This parcel is within the airport reserve. It's in the airport light industrial zone. Schilling Rentals LLC has several other leases with the city, and they're current on obligations to the city. This application will be before the Airport Commission tomorrow night, and then the recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Airport Commission will be forwarded to City Council when they give final approval or final decision on the application. The use for emergency medical flight services supports Goal 5 transportation, which has a vision for Kenai Municipal Airport to be a gateway to the Kenai Peninsula and West Cook Inlet. The proposed use could have some regional benefits. So does the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend the city approve this lease application for the use of a medical flight fixed base operator for a term of 45 years? Thank you for your consideration.
All right, thank you. Can we get a motion? Commissioner Springer.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the application for lease of city-owned land within the airport reserve described as Lot 5A, Block 1, FBO subdivision, 2018 replat, and located at 413 North Willow Street.
Very good. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Commissioner Greenberg.
The investment that they're going to put in there, $1.2 million, did they have a design or a plan or anything to add to the application that showed that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair Twait. I suppose what's in the packet is what we have for the application. I'm just checking the file to see. But I believe that's all we have. We don't have detailed plans at this time. However, the lease would be contingent upon that investment. So if the lessee did not complete that investment, then the city would revoke their lease.
Okay, just curious.
Councilman Nexted.
Yeah, if I could just ask a question, just for clarification so I know what you're actually approving. It's a release to Schillings for a hangar, right? I recognize what's going to be in there. The last line that's bold says, for the use of medical fixed-based aircraft for the next 45 years.
Oh.
It could be that, I'm suggesting that, that it could change, it could become somebody else, it could be for another use, aviation-wise, but are you approving it for medical use, or are you approving a hangar for Schillings? I just want to make sure that it doesn't get, I don't recall what the motion was.
Yeah. So that
Okay.
actually, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
please.
that actually came up when, if you look to the application, so
Good question.
it states for the nature and type of improvement is for the hangar with the crew quarters, and then the proposed business or activity intended is medical flight, FBO, and then it notes that it's expected the lease would be that the Guardian flight would be located on the premises. So the way that the city has advertised it is with the hangar. It's been a hangar with rotor and fixed wing aircraft with crew quarters. So I suppose to answer, it's for the hangar with rotor and fixed wing aircraft with crew quarters, and then it's expected that $1.2 million that it would end up being the emergency medical flight operator being on the premises.
So I guess I'm sure by the time it gets through the council process, they could make an amendment to that too, but to amend that out of there, because I see what you're saying now is that, I mean, it looks like you're tying the lease that Schillings would have with the life flight people to have to be 45 years as well in order for it to keep the lease accurate, I guess. So we could handle that, I guess, by amending that portion of it out of there too, just to approve the lease. If somebody wants to take a stab at that.
Chairman Twait,
Commissioner Springer.
could we amend that to well, let me put it this way. I'd like to amend that to say a lease application from Schilling Rentals only, with no additional requirements.
Commissioner Greenberg.
it
Well,
would need-
so we have an amendment. I guess the right thing to do is to get a second, and then we can discuss it. So,
I'll second that.
okay, and Commissioner Greenberg.
But it says the amendment, well, with the $1.2 million, it says it's pursuant to the Kenai Municipal Code's, the lease agreement table, so that has to be met, that requirement has to be met. So that needs to be,
Yeah, and I think that's that's part of the lease application, so I don't know if we have to dig down through the weeds that far with it, but I think, and I don't remember how we stated the motion. Did we read that? Do we have that? Do we know how? Commissioner Springer, can you
Yes, I
remember
did.
how you read that?
I just read the initial part, that the land lease application.
For Lot 5A and the
Yes.
address?
Yes,
Didn't have anything to do with the,
I did not include Schilling
okay.
Rentals or what their potential operation.
So I guess,
I think your discussions made that clear.
yeah.
Your intent.
Yeah. Okay, so then I don't even think that your amendment needs to be, we can just withdraw that amendment probably and,
That
yeah.
was my next question.
Okay.
is should we just withdraw the
yeah, I
amendment
think so.
then?
Yep,
Okay.
we'll keep our staff people on task tonight. Okay, so any other than discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Commissioner Greenberg,
yes.
Commissioner Springer,
Yes.
Commissioner Askin,
Yes.
Chair Twait.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, let's go back here. Takes us to item H2, it's discussion of ordinance number 3106-2020, amending Title 11 Harbor and Harbor Facilities to remove provisions that are no longer historically relevant, recognize changes to other chapters of city code and now provide for lease and sale of harbor lands, and provide the Harbor Commission a platform to move forward. Staff report.
Thank you, Chair Twait. Page 14 has, contains a memorandum. It's from council members Glendenning and Peterkin about amending Title 11, which is the harbor and harbor facilities. So I just wanted to note that it's meant to be a discussion just so the Planning and Zoning Commission is aware of the changes. The ordinance has not been officially referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission to make any sort of formal recommendation, since it doesn't directly affect the zoning code, which is Title 14. But I wanted to make sure that the Planning and Zoning Commission just was aware of the changes, and some of it is cleanup where it's taking some things out of Title 11 that are already done by the Planning and Zoning Commission, so we just had some duplications in our code. So I don't think this code change will directly affect the Planning and Zoning Commission. It just, it will delete some duplicate duties that in code were also assigned to the Harbor Commission. And I do see that Councilmember Glendenning is in the audience tonight, so I'm wondering if you could just give a brief, informative summary of the actions of the Harbor Commission pertaining to this code change.
Brief.
I ordered pizza. So anyway, this has been a long time coming. You could be brief and just say it's under housekeeping.
Or you can go a little bit farther than that if you'd
Okay.
like.
If you've read the memo from Councilor Peterkin and myself, What it does is it cleans up a lot of redundant code. When the state of Alaska first granted us authority over these lands in 1977, we had the ability to secure all of the land claims. We did the platting. We set certain regulations for use of the harbor. There was even landscaping provisions in the Title 11. So for a long time, we have been looking at various, even other city managers, other councils, at how do we clean this up. So Councilor Peterkin and myself, with enlarged the work and cooperation of our city attorney, amended Title 11. We removed quite a bit of redundant provisions, and basically assigned the procedures that involve land use, sale, lease, acquisition of harbor lands. All of these things will now just be included or rolled over into Title 22, which you have purview and authority over. And it's as a practical matter, the Planning and Zoning Commission is well versed in these policies and procedures, and there'll be no difference in adjudicating a lease or plat down on the waterfront as there would be at any other part of the city. And we are trying to eliminate these redundant parts of Title 11 that are more efficiently and thoroughly handled by planning and zoning, and just allow the Harbor Commission to allow them to focus on harbor-related projects and activities, and move forward with future potential recommended code changes relevant to such projects and activities. In other words, we want to market the waterfront. We want to be concerned about, in the Harbor Commission, concerned about water safety. The PU fishery is a big part of our focus, and we work in connection with Parks and Rec to manage that. We have some leases, and we'll have some say so on it, but in this relationship, planning and zoning is the 51%er. So we're adding some workload to you, but it's not much, and it's something that you do every day, all day, and that'd be very, very, very easy for you. And I'm just looking here at the resolution that was passed yesterday, and or Monday rather. And yeah, just what it does is it recognizes the expertise of other city bodies in land use and planning, and the desire of the Harbor Commission to focus on regulation of the harbor and its associated activities. And that's the focus of this change. Any questions?
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we're not looking for a motion to do anything. It's just more informational, correct?
Yes.
Just
Okay.
if you really want to look at it in your packet, there's the torn down version of Title 11, and it used to be this thick, and now it's way simpler. So if you read through it, you'll see it's eminently familiar to what you do each and every meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any comments regarding that, or are we ready to move along? Move along? Very good. Item I, pending items we have none, takes us to item J, reports. J1, City Council, Councilman Nackstead.
Thank you, Chairman Twait. Seems like it's been a while since I've been here. Before I start on what the council did this last meeting, I wanted to thank Mr. Glenn Denning, who's in the audience. He covered 2 meetings, not 1, but 2. So you had a month with him, and I'm sure he kept you well versed and enlightened and all of that. So I'll try to maintain that level here shortly. A couple other.
Good luck with that.
Oh, well, I wasn't here. I didn't review, so, you know. So I'll be brief on my report, just like that. Before I
That's a good
started,
start.
but I mean, before I started, since that has started, I wanted to kind of bring up a couple of things. I want to pass this down, and March for meals, things coming up, not this Friday, but the following Friday at the senior center, where they sell pies, if you bake pies and whatnot. And it's a great Kenai thing that I encourage anybody that you can attend to, and if you can't, maybe show a donation or something like that for a silent auction or whatever. So that's my plug for them, and I'll be there. And I'm the outlier that always brings a cake. The
Cake,
pie
yeah, the
auction.
pie
Yeah.
auction.
It works, you know. But anyway, I think Jim bought one once of mine, so my mother's recipe. That's what I have for my birthday every year. And the other thing that doesn't show up on the agenda here is Mr. Ostrander did talk about the corona virus and what the city is doing, and that all the it seems to be in the press, so we might as well just talk about it. I could talk about it at the end, but the city is talking about it. We really don't have much we can do as a city as far as the public goes, but what we do have is we have our facilities and our department heads and whatnot, and they're kind of working up protocols. Naturally, there's a senior center, but there's other public buildings, the library, and maybe this one too, but where you have a lot of people, and what are you going to do at certain levels? And perhaps Elizabeth might have some information on that, since I wasn't at any of those briefings with you guys, but I just know that it's happened. So anyway, the city's thinking about it. We're not just waiting because we're in Alaska and we're kind of in the back 40, and then Kenai's even more so, but because it's something we need to be prepared for. So anyway, our city's being working on that. So anyway, onto the agenda that you have in your packet, the action agenda. We had a meeting on March 4th, and I'll skip through and talk about the items that I think are most pertinent or of interest. We enacted an ordinance increasing estimated revenues for land sales of our portfolio. The way our code works is land sales for city land goes into a land account, and that earns a certain amount of interest, and if it makes above a certain amount, that money can come into the general fund, and it's $15,000, which 15,000, not a ton, but that's pretty cool. So anyway, we moved that in, out of that earnings into the general fund. Then we enacted authorizing the city manager to reimburse annual leave to a firefighter for attending a paramedic internship program. This firefighter, on his own dime, got some training and used his vacation time. Well, what we're doing is we're actually reimbursing him for his vacation time over a 3-year period. It benefits the city. If he were to leave in the first year or something like that, he wouldn't get reimbursed for the full 3. But so that's encouragement to hang in here. But he took the initiative, and it seemed like a fair thing for us to do. And then we awarded a contract to provide health and life insurance consulting. To provide health and life insurance consulting services. We got a new provider for that. I think it was about a $45,000 contract. And these people help negotiate and find us the best health care for our city. And as you know, that's one of the things that increases the most here in cost. Then we adopted selecting a new engineering services for the Kenai Municipal Airport. As you probably know, Vince Grothel's been our consultant here for many years, not continuously always, but mostly. But this time it's HDL has been selected for that contract, and there were 3 firms: HDL, Vince Grothel, and I can't recall, PDS, I think. And HDL does have a local office here, and they're very well qualified. Actually, all 3 firms are. And so we'll have some new faces working on some airport projects. And then we adopted unanimously supporting Senate Bill number 232 regarding, relating to the personal use fishery permits. And Peter Machicki and others are what this bill will do is charge for the Kenai River or in the Kasilof River, the dip net fishery, a $5 fee per permit. And those monies go to the municipality that is actually like we are, you know, with our North and South Beach here. If people fish in that fishery, we'll get that money. I think the state gets the rest of it because I think that they put up bathrooms and things down in Kasilof, for example, or Parks does or something like that, so it's state. But anyway, so we did that. We did have, we had one that failed unanimously, an action approval. And I'm sure Mr. Glendenning has talked to you about this. I think I may have too, about the gated street communities. There was an amendment that came from the borough regarding gated streets, and what basically it said something like the planning and zoning of the cities could make that decision, and you would be the authority telling the borough. Well, we're really not for it anyway, one way or the other, not that we wouldn't trust your judgment. I think it's kind of, technically kind of maybe arises to a council decision ultimately in our city, but what we did is we did not, we failed the amendment, and we reverted back to requesting that the administration send a letter to the borough saying that as a city we're not interested. Thank you. And right outside the city. And let's see, the last item I had, we did have an executive session to discuss the purchase of a particular parcel where the Anchor Trailer Park used to be. And kind of the idea for that would be for a campground, Anchor campground. And so our decision one way or the other isn't public, but I want to let you guys know that we were looking at that at any rate. You guys have any questions at all of me regarding anything here with the city?
I have one, since I haven't talked to you for so long.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Regarding the engineering firm, which is kind of secondary to what I was going to ask anyway when we were actually looking at that lease agreement, how much land is still left, lease land, on the runway as far as that airport land goes? And is it, at some point, I mean, it's a pretty nice service to have the ability to have those lease lots available. Extending the runway any near future, just to be able, if nothing else, not that we don't need it necessarily for airplanes, but for facilities along there, is that anything, are we gonna wait till we have no lease land left and go, wow, we need more lease land, or is there a plan in place to? Or maybe
there's an airport master plan, and the airport master plan has the ramp continuing north. We also have a proposed taxiway Sierra that's probably going to happen sooner than later on the south end of the airport that will go over by the float pond, and it gets you over there, and that opens up some properties that could be converted into leased land, and then furthermore, then a road that would go on the other side of the float pond on the west side, where we have tracks over there as well, and those are proposed lease parcels that would abut to the water runway, or you could taxi back to this, to this side. But how many we have left, I think we're starting to wind down on them a little bit. Perhaps Elizabeth, has a, so we're looking at it for this lease.
Yeah, if I could jump in. I know there's a couple lots, if you go towards Marathon Road on Willow Street, there's a few treed lots that still have taxiway access that are available. It would take some site prep work, but we still have those. And there's one other lot I know of that would offer some taxiway access. In general, a lot of them are leased that have taxiway access. And I'll note almost everything is aviation related. There's not many left that aren't somehow directly related to an aviation use.
Yeah, I was just curious. we keep seeing one here and there, and some of them are existing, but when you drive down there, I don't pay that great of attention, I guess, but it sure seems like we're about done. It seems, when you just drive down that way. So, and I was just curious more than anything. I knew there was a master plan. I wasn't sure if there was any talk of getting serious about extending, or like you said, it sounds like there's options on the other side of the runway, so.
Yeah, and I don't recall what the year is for the ramp extension to extend that. It wouldn't be access directly to the runway, it would be access to a ramp.
Right.
Or a taxiway.
Yeah.
And actually, some of them that I think about even closer into town are right up by Granite Point Road that goes into where Lofsted's used to be. There's a big cleared lot there that was actually leased and it came back to the city. It's pretty well ready, and that's on a taxiway also. And then we also recently leased a lot just south of it's wooded, just south of the terminal building there too, that'll have access. And that construction may happen in the next year, it's supposed to. We actually had a lease, and then we didn't get renewed because they didn't
Act on it.
they didn't do what they were supposed, what they thought they were going to do. But we renewed it since. I think that was with SOAR.
Oh, right, yep.
Yeah, it's, there's a subdivision in process, and then once
Yeah.
that's done, then the lease would be signed.
All right, anybody else have anything for Councilman Nackstead? All right, we will move along to, well, we won't have anything from, oh, go ahead.
I could jump in for borough planning.
Oh, good,
for
please
one.
do then, absolutely.
So on March 23rd, the City of Kenai Hazard Mitigation Plan will be before the Borough Planning Commission. I'll be in attendance at that meeting. So this is asking the borough to adopt our hazard mitigation plan that has been approved by the state and by FEMA as an annex to the borough hazard mitigation plan. Because if officially the plan that's the annex to the borough plan is from 2010, so we want our new plan to be adopted as part of the borough plan. So anyway, it'll be before the planning commission on March 23rd, and then from there it would go before the assembly.
All right. We'll move on to city administration.
And actually, I didn't have my mic on for that.
Oh, no.
I hit the button, but I was hitting it off. So speaking of leases, we've received the appraisal that will help us determine new lease rates for parcels that are still on the 5-year schedule. We have had several conversions, so there are fewer leases that are going to be on that 5-year rate. There's some leases that are moving to the annual lease rate change with the consumer price index, but we did receive the appraisal from McSwain Associates just at the end of last week. I'll put another plug for the census. Census day is April 1st. And then I did want to speak on the coronavirus or the COVID-19. The city manager did discuss the coronavirus at the last department head meeting, and we do have another meeting scheduled for tomorrow. There's no action to be taken at this time. It's just we want to be ready in case, say, some public facilities would need to close, or if people would be unable to come to work. Just that the core city services like water, sewer, and police and fire, all those would be in place, and just preliminary thinking, like what if we had to close the library or something like that. But there are no current cases in Alaska, but I've been watching the news, and there's extra hand sanitizer and wipes were distributed to city staff, so we could use them. And I guess I'll just say, too, I'm a person who doesn't normally keep a large stock of food, and so I at least tried to think about having stuff on hand for at least a little bit. And I think it's good not just for the coronavirus, but any sort of thing that could disrupt a life, even an earthquake, and think about your pets too. So, anyway, just things to think about. But the city is preparing, but I don't have any action that is being taken at this time to report. Other than that, we're being prepared. Actually on Tuesday, the city manager gave a presentation on the budget at the senior center. And there's budget meetings have started with departments, including planning and zoning. And so there will be a draft budget in the next few weeks. This will be for fiscal year 2021, which starts on July 1st of this year. I also just wanted to report work on the land management plan. We actually started to talk about some dates for that, so I don't have any to share yet, but this would be an inventory of city-owned lands, and I expect that to come before this commission, but there is an internal draft currently. And lastly, I wanted to mention, I started updating the planning and zoning forms so that they could be fillable online, and just to try to clean up some of the information, because right now we still give a packet that has code printed out, and so I was trying to make it a little easier for someone to understand with like a checklist and then a form that could be fillable online. So there's two that are posted now. I have the home occupation permit and the transfer of conditional use permit. There's 13 forms under planning and zoning. So I expect to get through all of those forms in the next few weeks, but I'm really excited about this because it's something that's I've been meaning to do since I started with the city. So it's really cool to see them come to life. And so I'll report back when I have all of the forms done. But it'll be nice that they're just a little cleaner, and they'll be fillable online, and just if the city council adopts our new logo, then they would also match the styling with that. And that is the end of my administrative report.
Any questions? So regarding those online, can they then submit them online with a payment for like a conditional use and stuff like that? Will that be the ultimate goal, or will they still need to come in?
Yeah, people would still need to call or come in for payment. I guess I don't have too much control over the online payment. I think it's something that's on the radar for the city, but I suppose they couldn't fully submit online because they'd have to call or else mail a check.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at least you could type in the information. So,
Absolutely.
because
A lot
right
cleaner
now,
than handwritten.
yeah, in the packets everything is handwritten. So at least it would give, like, we'd still accept handwritten applications, but it would at least give an option for someone to type some of their text.
And penmanship is not what it used to be. All right, additional public comments. Microphone's up, microphone's down. Go ahead.
Yeah, last time I was here, I sat in as the liaison, and there were two questions asked. One was about the remote sales authority, and I noted that there was an amendment at the Borough Assembly clarifying where the tax actually was collected, and it is at the seller's physical presence. Okay, rather than if you fill out something online, you're taxed from where you request the sale. The sale is taxed at the point of delivery, at the seller's physical address. And then also there was a question about
You mean the buyers, right?
yeah, the rate of the tax to be added to the sale price is based on the place of sale. The place of sale of goods, services, and merchandise is the location of the seller's physical presence, at which or from which delivery was made, including installation charges and store pickups.
Well, to clarify, if someone's in Kenai and buys something on Amazon, that tax would go to Kenai, correct?
Yeah, if it's delivered here, yes. But if it's delivered to Eagle River, then
Yeah.
no luck. We don't get it.
Yep.
And then also, there was a question about cannabis, how it was taxed. And I did some research, and I obtained tax information for the years 2016, 17, and 18, and it's combined sales and property taxes. And that's as specific as we can get. The actual sales taxes are classified. It's not available to the general public. And so the number for those 3 years is approximately $132,000 within the city of Kenai for sales and property taxes for 3 years. That, someone had that question.
That's the revenue that's generated, or that's the amount that's being taxed?
That's the revenue.
Cool.
That's a high number. Anything else, Mr. Glendenning?
No, thank you.
Very good. All right, no informational items. Next meeting, March 25th. 2 weeks from today. Anyone not going to be here? Everybody, nobody's going to travel. No one's leaving to stay. That's not very smart. All right, commissioners' comments and questions. Commissioner Askin.
I don't have anything.
Commissioner Greenberg.
I notice a lot of organizations are starting to do more telecommuting and stuff like that due to the virus, so maybe that would be something, maybe call in a little more or something, I don't know. But that's a solution I think people are taking. Just thought I'd mention that.
So are you going to be here at the next meeting?
Yeah, and well, if I can interject that, I'll make a note to review our policy for that, just in case, so that I would know what the city's options are if that would be a measure taken where we might not want people in person at the meetings.
Commissioner Springer.
I don't have anything additional.
I neither, so with the business complete, the meeting is adjourned.